All right. Let's get started. So thank you guys for coming on to our 27th webinar today. It took us just a bit of setup here in the system, but I'm really excited about today's topic. Delphine has been one of the most helpful people or persons that I met in my last years in my company. And this webinar is really to help those business owners that struggle trying to learn about benefits and what to offer to their employees, to really kind of share everything and how it works so people can understand. And I'm really honored to have her today here. So welcome, Delphine, and thank you for sharing this moment with us. And please introduce yourself and let us know more about you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Juan. So Delphine Huddelston, I've been in the insurance industry for, I think it's 16 years now. I've been helping individuals and group with health insurance. It's been a joy and a passion of mine to be able to educate individuals and educate businesses as far as what their options may be, because there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so can be so overwhelming, right? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, what are the rules, and what are our options? And then, how do we choose a plan? And then should we offer, should we not offer? And then once we buy, how do we use? So there's so many different aspects of the health insurance world that can be overwhelming and confusing. And so I just am real passionate about helping individuals to understand what seems to be very difficult, but once you wrap your brain around it, it can be not so bad.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely. I think that is one of the reasons I've been so amazed by your work, because you always been patient and explaining me and teaching me and reminding me about all the things about insurance. So
Awesome. Thank you.
Let's get started here. And why I'm teaching this or sharing this knowledge with you guys is because we see that there's not much education about this topic. It's people have to research on their own. They have to look up this content. And the reality is that, things change state by state. So you want to make sure that you're aligned with your state. Also, it's difficult to understand, like most insurances in general, people don't want to read all the fine print. And that's, I guess, for all of us. We just want to hear what it does, how it benefits our business. And, that's why, people like Delphine is here to explain. And she's been our personal advisor to Gmates, my own cleaning company. She knows this topic very well. She offers top-notch customer service, which is something that I really enjoy, especially in difficult situations we've had in the past. And Delphine also has fought for our employees when there was, difficult to claim any money. So let's get started. Delphine, if you want to share your screen, you should be able to go and do it now and just go on with the content that you have for us. We're excited to see it.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see here. I have two different screens, so let me go from slideshow. Okay. All right, and then, nope, I don't want to do, well, duplicate's fine. Okay, so here's my information. We've already kind of talked about that. I not only help my own personal clients with health insurance, but I also help other agents understand how to sell to their clients as well. So that's kind of been a new role of mine. I've enjoyed it very much. Mm-hmm. Being able to help other agents take care of their clients as well. So the whole concept, and I have this picture of this lady who looks very confused, and I want everybody to just not feel like you're alone when it comes to this topic of health insurance being confusing. Even myself, when I go and learn something new and I'm reading something, it's kind of how it's communicated. Sometimes I have to go research it in several different places to make sure I'm understanding it correctly. So I
Right.
can only imagine somebody that's not your background when you're going to researching the information, how confusing that can be. So there's a lot of information out there about health insurance, right? There's a lot of different options, and I'm going to try to make it not so overwhelming, right? To try to put it in somewhat of a digestible form. So the businesses, the individuals who have businesses out there kind of understand a little bit more about what their options are. So before we kind of go into options, I do want to talk about who has to provide health insurance, because sometimes that's ambiguous, sometimes it's unclear, and there's, our legislation has changed a lot. And so what do we have going on today? What does that look like? So first of all, if your business has over 50 full-time equivalent employees, you are required to offer health insurance or face penalties. Now, the 50 full-time equivalent employees means you could have a lot of part-timers, and you have to do this equation to see how many part-timers you have that may equal your business having 50 full-time equivalent employees. So not to dig into the weeds too much, but to speak to that a little bit. If your business has less than that, 50 or lower, then you're not required to offer health insurance. So that's the dividing line right there.
Okay.
And then to clarify, and most people should know this, but what I've found is, what I've learned is, don't make any assumptions. Don't assume, Delphine, that everybody knows all of these things. It's important to kind of talk about them. Because I still have individuals ask me this today. So there's no longer the individual mandate that requires individuals to have their own health insurance. So that's no longer in place. So individuals don't have to worry about getting health coverage getting penalized if they don't have health coverage for themselves.
Yeah,
okay.
Good to know. I didn't know that has changed again back to the old ways.
Yeah, I know. And it's kind of nice taking off some of the burdens, taking off some of the stressors, but it doesn't take away the fact that people do need health insurance. So
yeah.
So why should a business consider offering health insurance to their employees? So the number one and the top reason that most employers offer health insurance to their employees is to be able to attract and retain employees, right? Because one of the most expensive or extremely expensive expense to a business is when you have to rehire and retrain employees.
Oh, yeah.
Not only do you have to work, you lose productivity time, which means that you're losing money for the business, right?
Yeah.
And then there's just, it costs a lot. If anybody were to be brave enough to actually go out, because you can go and do a search on Google and find out, there's calculators out there for the expense for having to lose and rehire employees. It's expensive, and it's kind of a rude awakening to go and look. It's not a low dollar amount, and
No.
it probably equates to at least one of your employees' annual income per year to the company. It's a real thing. Helps with productivity when your employees have benefits. If a family member is sick, if they're sick and they're trying to figure out how to take care of those needs, then it affects their productivity. So being able to have benefits for the employees really helps with the productivity, which saves the company money. So, all of these things are just huge. And that kind of goes to the peace of mind to the employee, peace of mind so they can focus on work and they don't have to worry about the issues. And so we may think that these are not real items, but there are so many statistics out there that talk about these being real issues for employees. And then not only are you attracting employees, but you're attracting quality employees, because when a quality employee is looking at your business, they're probably already also looking at other businesses. And so not only are they comparing how much you're paying, but they're also comparing benefits as well.
Definitely.
Taxes.
They're like apples to apples comparing, see which job they want to pick.
Yeah. Then there's also tax incentives. So not only, there's a couple of tax incentives that it can offer to the employer. First of all, to be able to have a write-off because they're offering benefits to their employee. And then any benefits that are deducted from the employee's check on a pre-tax basis, it's a tax savings to the employee, and the employer does not have to match the FICA to that. So there's a couple of tax incentives that are going on with offering benefits. So what are your options as a business owner? So the first thing I want to talk about are the individuals. So if you're an individual in the world, not even through a business, what kind of options do you have? Because I think it's important to understand the individual option so you know where to place the group option, right? So the individuals, they may have option for Medicaid for their children. They may have CHIPS. There's the marketplace. The marketplace is some people, there's different names for it, right? Marketplace, Obamacare, the exchange. So there's an open enrollment that happens every year for the exchange for an employee to be able to get benefits. And it starts typically in September and for an effective date of January 1 for new benefits. So if somebody has gone all year without coverage and they want to get in the marketplace, they have to wait for a January 1 effective date. There are some what we call qualifying events that will allow them to get coverage throughout the year, but they have to have a qualifying event to be able to enroll throughout the year, such as they no longer work at a place of employment that they had health coverage. So that means that they had health coverage before, they no longer have it. And now it's a qualifying event to enroll throughout the year in the marketplace. But you can't just decide, oh, I didn't have health coverage and in March I have to have a surgery and I didn't have anything before and now I want to go get health coverage. No, you're going to have to wait until January to get that coverage. There are also short-term medical plans out there for individuals to get. They start getting a little bit more expensive on the marketplace. Going back to that, there's a lot of people these days who qualify for a subsidy. A subsidy is what the government, a dollar amount the government gives to an individual or family to help them pay for their benefits. It's based on their zip code, how many people are dependents in their family and live in their household, and the zip code, annual income of the family as well. And then short-term medical is an option. They can keep it for an extended period of time, even though it says short-term medical. However, it doesn't cover things for the first year. It doesn't cover pre-existing in the first year. And it's not guaranteed issue. Okay, so like with the marketplace, it's a guaranteed issue, which means you can have cancer in November, you can enroll for January 1 effective date in the marketplace and start getting cancer treatment because it doesn't matter what illness you had before. And then there's also fixed benefit plans that are going to cost less, they cover less, but they're much more affordable for individuals. And depending, for some people, it's like, well, I didn't have anything. I can't afford an expensive plan. I don't qualify for a subsidy, but a fixed benefit plan is a great solution. It's going to allow me to have surgery benefits, hospitalization, doctor benefits, and different benefits such as that. So that's Perfect. The individual side. For the employer-sponsored, an employer-sponsored means that the employer is going to offer benefits to the employee. And if the employee is paying for any part of it, that part that the employee pays for, those premiums are going to be deducted from their check. The employer collects those and then it pays the premium to the insurance carrier on behalf of the employees. So what are the options? So there's fully insured plan. These are the traditional plans that most people are used to hearing about. A group plan with Blue Cross, a group plan with Humana, a group plan with Aetna. And the costs are a little bit higher on those, and that's because they take into consideration everybody's health history, all the terminally ill, all the pregnant ladies, all the people who are taking the expensive medication. So your rates can be a little bit higher. If the employer is offering a fully insured plan, then the employer has to pay a minimum of 50% of the employee-only portion. So if the employee enrolls in a family plan, the employer only has to pay for half of the employee cost of their plan, not the whole family plan. If they want to pay for more, they sure can, but they're not required to. There are also what we call level funded plans out there. These can be much lower than a fully insured plan. They are going to, and there's a lot of benefits to the level funded. A level funded can have a refund for the employer at the end of the year if they don't have a lot of claims experience, and the rates are typically lower. A level funded plan really works better with a relatively healthy population of employees. The employer on that one must pay 50% as well of the employee portion. There is what is called an ICRA. This is an individual contribution health reimbursement plan that the employer can provide. And what this does and what this means is the employer is going to decide, I'm going to set up an ICRA account. I'm going to offer a certain dollar contribution per employee to go on the exchange and buy a plan. Now, this is something real important. This is where you can get kind of creative. If you offer a fully insured or a level funded plan to your employees, and if your employees have a low enough income that they would have qualified for a subsidy, if you're offering one of these two plans, they cannot get a subsidy because their employer is offering them a qualified plan. So now they don't qualify for a subsidy. If the employee's spouse, if their employer is offering them health insurance, then the family is not eligible for a subsidy as well. So that's called the family glitch. And it's a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, you've mentioned that to us several times.
Yes, they're working on trying to get rid of the family glitch because it really isn't, it's not behooving anybody really, and it's putting people in a really difficult situation. So, but this is where we are today, right?
Yeah.
But ICRA, let's say you have a population of employees and you know that a certain amount of them or most of them are going to qualify for a subsidy, then you may just say, you know what, go, connect them like Juan connects me with his agents and with his employees, and I help his employees. If they need any help with that, I can do that. But maybe you have two sets of employees, one who you want to offer health insurance to and one where they would do better if they qualify for a subsidy. There's a lot of different combinations that you can do. And not to get too confusing on that, but just know that there are options such as that you can offer, look into, that can be creative for your company to be able to offer benefits to your employees without taking away their subsidies if they are eligible for that. There are the fixed benefit plans that we talked about up here that are much more affordable than the fully insured or level funded plans. There is not a contribution for the employer to pay towards the employee portion. because it is not what we call an ACA compliant plan. It does have great benefits, and it depends on the group what plan would be best for that group. And then there's supplemental type policies. They're going to be the lowest cost. There's not an employer contribution that is required, but these are basically the different kind of plans that you can offer. And you may, there may be a combination of a fully insured with supplemental, level funded with supplemental. I'm a big proponent of supplemental because people think I have health insurance, I've arrived. But we're going to talk a little bit about why that's not the end of the road, because there are so many out-of-pocket expenses that the individuals are still responsible for. Going to talk a little bit about definitions. So if we go back here and we talk about ACA compliant plan, ACA is the Affordable Care Act. So they said there are certain things that need to happen in a plan for it to be ACA compliant. So ACA compliant plans would be Medicaid and CHIPS, the marketplace, the fully insured plans, and the level funded plans. So what makes an ACA plan? It means that when somebody has an ACA compliant plan, that their preventative services are covered at 100%. Preventative services, there's a list for adults, women, and children. Basically, it's your physicals, pap smears for women, vaccinations for children. There's a whole list. I mean, there's like 66 different preventative services, but those are the most popular ones. And to kind of give you an idea, you go to an in-network doctor, it should be covered 100%. It's going to cover pre-existing, like I talked about. If you got cancer in November and you were effective in January, you could start getting cancer treatment because it's covering pre-existing day one. Guaranteed issue, it doesn't matter what your health history is, you're going to get accepted. No annual or lifetime max. That means in your claims, if you have a huge claim, they're not going to limit you on the what amount of coverage of how large your claim is going to be. They're going to cover you for all of it. Now, these are all taken in consideration that you're going to an in-network doctor. And so,
let me interrupt you there for a second, Delphine. I normally get a lot of this question, is that when is the good time for a home service company to offer health insurance? How much revenue they need to have, or what's the head count? What will be like a good rule of thumb that we can give people to decide when is the good time to implement a health insurance or any other benefit that they want to do or offer?
That's a really good question. And typically a company, whoops, my light went off. That's okay. Typically a company will start feeling some pain points, and it's like they internally know. So that's part of it. The other part is, what is your budget? I often ask my clients, what is your budget and what is your goal in offering benefits?
Right.
That's where we can get strategic. That's where we start looking at all the options that I talked about here and finding out, okay, based on your goal, and the other thing I ask about is, because it's real important to understand the demographic of the employees. And all companies have a certain, what I call, personality of employees. What are their needs like? What are they saying? Are they female? Are they male? Because all of these things have different factors that kind of lead me to recommend a certain kind of plan or a certain kind of package or a certain way of approaching the health insurance. So it really depends on knowing what your budget is and knowing how your turnover is affecting you financially. Because sometimes when you take all those things in consideration, it really helps you determine what your budget is. And people aren't always looking at the cost of their turnover and the cost of productivity. all these different factors involved with your employees. And there's different phenomenons that cause turnover. Sometimes it's if an employee isn't able to work long enough, or if they're not able to work because they're sick or hurt, and they don't have the income coming in. Sometimes they have to create a scenario. And I don't know if it's, they file for unemployment or whatever it is. So that's where other plans that are in place are real important for them to have. And we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. I didn't mean not to give you a specific dollar amount.
Okay, no, not a problem. I just wanted to know if there was some type of, number in my, obviously I'm not an expert on this, but as on the practical side of the business, I usually recommend people to get, start offering benefits around 5 to 7 employees. So you can start to grow, to the 10th employee, 15 employees. Because sometimes we wait until we're starting to have all these people quit and have all this turnover to start improving our business offering. And it's really good that we start to offer it, sooner than later, as soon as the company has some profitability and can invest money into, this is basically investing money into retention directly, employee retention. And that's, I say, is the silver bullet to the turnover, because people are picking and choosing which jobs they want. And it's really based on pay, benefits, work style, and just other amount of things that they decide to pick a job versus another. So perfect.
Yeah.
So
I would like to think that, the question you asked me and how I responded and how you answered it, it couldn't have, like, if that answer would have come for me, it would have not had near the effect as it coming from you as a business owner. And so I would, just so everybody knows, we didn't plan that.
No.
But it was definitely, I think, effective for a business owner to hear from you, Juan, exactly what you said, because it is a reality and it is so important. So thank you for sharing that, because that's a huge point for business owners.
Perfect. So we've been talking about health insurance. What other benefits can business owners, home service companies start to provide to their employees besides health insurance?
Yeah, sometimes when health insurance is not a factor, or if employees are eligible for a subsidy and they're going to get health insurance through the exchange, and it's costing them maybe nothing at all. Another thing to let people know, there are so many people who qualify for subsidies who are able to get good coverage on the exchange, and they may be paying $0 or very little dollars. And so it's great that they have that. But there is that, remember what I said earlier, you haven't arrived just when you have health insurance, because of all of those expenses that are those upfront expenses. And let me see, I'm going to come back to here. So this is an example if you have health insurance, right? So if you're offering health insurance, or if your employees have it through their exchange, an average deductible is $5,000. Copays are about $40 for primary and $70 for specialists. If they're getting preventative, they have no copays. It's zero cost to them. And then they can have a co-insurance of 30%. So literally, and this is a very normal max, even on the exchange, of having a maximum out-of-pocket of $8,500. So if you have an individual who has to have surgery, that surgery is going to be subject to your deductible. So that means they're having to pay that out of pocket. So people may be able to, maybe paying $0 for the health insurance, but they can't afford to use it. Statistically, 57% of individuals have less than $1,000 in their savings accounts to deal with out-of-pocket expenses. And So this is another big passion point of mine, because people have insurance, health insurance, but they can't afford to use it. And then on top of that, if they're sick or hurt and they can't work, they have that lost income. And that's where people really get in a difficult position, because not only are they not able to pay for their medical, they're not able to pay for their bills at home. So that kind of leads into, what you asked, Juan, about what are some other types of benefits. And those are the supplemental, and the top two that are the number two benefits that businesses see that are important to offer: accident plans and short-term disabilities. There's some other ones as well, but these benefits can be offered on a voluntary basis, so the employees pay for them themselves, or they can be paid for by the employer, and they have the same benefits. The same benefits as for the employer becomes a write-off. There's a tax savings for any pre-tax benefits. So there's still a lot of different benefits, and it's still an ability to help to attract and retain employees, because they do have benefits. What I have found with this short-term disability, and I'm going to talk about the differences between these in a little bit, and I'm going to show you an illustration of what it's like to have some of these supplemental plans and not to have them. But the short-term disability is an interesting phenomenon in businesses. And I think this is where a company can have the highest turnover. Because if you have an employee who gets sick or hurt and they can't work, they don't have an income coming in, and they don't have any other place to turn to. Because remember, we talked about that savings account, very limited for most individuals. So then they have to go do something like stop working, maybe collect unemployment. But if they have a short-term disability plan, short-term disability is the check protector. It's the income protector. It's going to pay them if they're not able to work due to a sickness or an off-the-job accident, or in some cases, you may want it to also cover for on-the-job accidents. And it pays them for the number of days they're not able to work, up to 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. It depends on what they decide to enroll in. But it's a great benefit, and it really helps with that employee retention.
This is one of the ones that I really enjoy offering or mentioning our employees, because employees think about their paycheck, right? What happens if I cannot work this week? Then this is when the short-term disability means a lot more sometimes than even the health insurance, because the health insurance, you will pay for some of the bills, but the short-term disability, and this is important to mention, this is a payment that goes directly to the employee's pocket, not to pay for bills, medical bills. Is directly a deposit into their banking account that they can use for any kinds of rent, food, anything that they need. And I see a lot of businesses still not offering this benefit. And it's really, I think, the best bang for your buck, because it's a lot cheaper than the health insurance. And it does offer a lot more value to them. Do we agree, right? Is that what we're seeing in GMates, correct?
Absolutely, Juan. Absolutely, totally. And, I probably learned more in the last few years of how the impact of not having a short-term disability plan can have on employee turnover. So I've definitely seen a lot of that for sure. So thank you for speaking to that. So people often wonder, what's the difference between an accident plan and a short-term disability? And I'm going to kind of give you an overview of what these are. So again, these can be offered, an employer can contribute to any of these, or they can be offered on a voluntary basis. Accident plan is a benefit that's going to pay if somebody is in an accident on or off the job and they go to the doctor, emergency room, or hospital. And the illustration I have coming up next is it's taking into account an individual who has an accident plan and an individual who does not have an accident plan. And then it also includes an accidental death benefit and a wellness benefit. So if you go get a physical, it pays you $50 a year, and then benefits throughout your treatment plan for an accident. And the same thing, those benefits get paid directly to the employee. An accident plan is going to cost about $20 a month for an individual, very affordable. So even if it's on a voluntary basis, if you cover a family, it's going to be more, but for the individual, it's $20 a month. So it's just got amazing benefits. What I like about the accident plan that I typically sell, because a lot of people like going to the chiropractor for an accident, and it pays $90 up to 3 visits per accident, and that's huge. And then the short-term disability, as I said, that's your check protector. It's going to pay if you're not able to work due to a sickness or an off-the-job accident, or if you have on-the-job accident included, it will pay for on-the-job accidents as well. There's 3 things that affect the cost of the disability: how soon it pays, how much it pays, and how long it pays you for. How soon it pays can be as soon as day 1 for an accident and day 8 for sickness. It never covers more sooner than day 8 for sickness. And then, or you can push that out if you want to lower the cost. And then how long it pays you for. It could cover you up to 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. It goes up to 24 months if you're not able to work, but the premium gets pretty high at 24, and past 6 months, it gets pretty high. And then it covers you up to 60% of your gross income. Now that's deducted on a post-tax basis. And I know I may be speaking a little Greek right now, but anything else that gives you some questions that we can talk about, it's deducted on a post-tax after tax, which means that when the benefit gets paid to the employee is not going to get taxed on that 60%. So it gets them closer to their actual income. All the other benefits, accident, cancer, and hospital can be deducted pre-tax. Even if they deduct those pre-tax, they will not tax the benefits they receive. So that's why we set them up specifically like that. The cancer plan is huge. More people are surviving cancer these days, and it's expensive, and it can have a huge detrimental effect. We have some excellent prices on our cancer plans. Then there's life insurance. Oops, I touched, yeah. Life insurance and hospital. Hospital can help individuals meet that deductible for a sickness or an accident. So and I call these essential out-of-pocket protection. Essential because people don't have the money to deal with these out-of-pocket. And that's been a new terminology that I've started using because I think it's important to understand how essential they are. So,
yeah, definitely. Good name.
This I know is a little blurry, and this is kind of a little corny illustration, but everybody knows Jack and Jill, right? And Jack and Jill went up the hill, and Jack fell down and Jill came tumbling after, right? So they're both in these accidents, and we're going to do a side-by-side looking at Jack, who had health insurance and with some supplemental accident, and Jill, who had health insurance, but she didn't have an accident plan, and what their 2 worlds look like and what a difference these can make. So Jack, he fell down, he broke his, we'll say his leg, right? And he had to have surgery. He went to the urgent care. The benefit, the accident plan paid him $160. He had to have MRI or a CAT scan, something that paid $200. He had an open fracture that was an additional benefit of $1,250. He had 1 night stay in the hospital, or 2 additional nights. I guess it was so the $1,500 for the first night, 2 additional nights, $600. He had some blood transfusions. He needed crutches. He had 6 follow-up visits, and he had
Gosh, that's a
rehab.
lot of stuff.
Yeah. So the rehab and the plan that because this is like a generic accident plan. The rehab that I told you was $20 a month pays $90 a visit, so that becomes a $900 benefit. It's kind of crazy how great it pays, and the fracture benefit pays higher. But I think everything else is but quite a bit. So his direct benefits were like $4,500. Jill, she had to pay for all of these out of pocket because, well, she had a copay for urgent care. Diagnostics are subject to deductible. The fracture for the hospital is subject to your deductible. If there was surgery, that was subject to your deductible. So she had all of these out-of-pocket expenses. So this is a big difference between having a supplemental plan that can help with the upfront expenses and not having one. I think it's just a really good illustration of how those supplemental can help, especially if you have a demographic, even if you're offering health coverage to your employees and you're paying for 50% of the medical, offering these on a voluntary basis so they can take advantage of that. And that $20 that's deducted from their check on a pre-tax basis, they're gonna have a savings of about $4. So it's really costing them about $6 a month instead of the $20 because they're saving $4 in taxes because it's deducted out of their check in taxes. And I can explain that in a little bit. So, I mean, just having an opportunity to get those is huge. Or if they have coverage on the exchange, you can offer these even if you're not offering health insurance. So, and then what happened to Jack? We know he's not working. He's got that lost income. And so short-term disability is a great plan for him to have that's going to pay him for the number of days he's not able to work. So huge benefit on the supplemental, and just an awareness of understanding how they help, an awareness of understanding the risk that individuals have, even when they have medical coverage, understanding those out-of-pocket expenses.
There you go.
So
bottom line.
So bottom line, you know, when I'm talking to employers, you know, and we talked about this earlier, what is your budget? And sometimes understanding your budget means digging in and realizing what your employee turnover is and how much is that costing you. What is your objective in offering benefits? Because that's important to know, because then it helps your advisor to understand what's important to include in a package, in a benefit, in a comprehensive benefit package. And, you know, you'd be surprised. A lot of employers think I can't afford benefits, but we see, you know, with me helping different agents and all of the different clients, we've found so many employers so surprised at how affordable health insurance is, because we have a lot of different options that we can go to. So really understanding what those look like and your objectives, and what does your demographic look like? What is the characteristics of your employees? You know, are they female? Are they male? Are they young? Are they older? Do you have anybody on Medicare who we need to get on a Medicare plan so they're not affecting health insurance? And then there's so many ways to be strategic. And that's where a benefit advisor can really help. Just answering your questions. And, you know, the other benefit that a benefit advisor can provide, because a lot of times we think about benefits only being medical and these that we talked about, but a huge benefit that you can offer to your employee is education on their benefits, because not only do they have to understand how to buy, they need to understand how to use it, because a lot of times when people don't understand how to use it, they don't use it because they don't understand how much it's going to cost them. And so there's really quite a few different strategies to work around businesses to help them understand so their employees can understand how to use their benefits. And you'd be surprised. We come across so many different options that make health insurance affordable. And Juan, that's probably something I'd like to visit with you on. I've come across a program that has allowed businesses to be able to find some loopholes.
Okay.
With the
Interesting.
Affordable Care Act, I love smart insurance. I love and that's my favorite part of my job, is digging in to find smart ways to help individuals and businesses. And so I definitely want to have a conversation with you and connect you with some individuals who have been able to find some loopholes for tax savings that provide pockets for businesses to make it more affordable to offer health insurance, and employees more affordable to purchase health insurance. So just, you don't know what you don't know. And there's a lot of, I don't mean to be so vague on that, but that's a topic that's, huge. So if anything, I want people to understand that this is an ambiguous and confusing topic. Do not be afraid to reach out and learn more through a benefit advisor. The worst thing is, you know what, thanks for your information, but no, we're not going to do it. The best thing is, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this was an option, and this would be a great solution for my business and for my employees. So I always like to, when I have opportunities like this, to be able to speak to that broad perspective of giving people confidence to just learn more, find out more, and seeing what your options are. Because just like this new thing that I learned, you never know when an advisor has learned something new and can share. This is my contact information. Of course, we're going to have a time for questions. If anybody has questions, I will tell you my last name. If you're writing my email address down, is not spelled normal. It's Huddel instead of LE. This is my Calendly link. If anybody would like to schedule any time with me, if you just have questions, I'm okay with just questions. I'm do that all the time. So feel free to schedule a time. And I think we're almost at the hour.
Yes, I wanted to add a couple of things while there's any questions. I do wanted to share some of the benefits that we are offering in our company, so other people can see it in more in real life. Let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, because it's always confusing and most employees do not understand exactly what things are for, I created this chart that you can download, and I'll give you the URL in a moment. And it basically explains very in plain English to all your employees what are the benefits and perks that your home service company is offering, and when does it apply. For example, I had employees that never understood that we were paying payroll taxes for them towards their Social Security retirement. They say, oh, I didn't know that was a benefit that you said you offer. I said, yeah, some companies just pay you cash and you have to, send the money for yourself to the IRS. In our case, our company, I've noticed that people didn't understand that. So I put that as part of the benefits. We help you with your retirement. So also workers' compensation, we explain what it does, how it works. And if you notice, I have 2 columns here, which there are some things that apply differently to full-time and part-time. And for example, so my employees, when they get hired at GMates, they see that we have these benefits. And then kind of the biggest one for us is the short-term disability. And then it explains here, it says, we'll pay you between 1,000 to 1,500 a month for the number of days your doctor says you're not able to work. And then for those that are part-time, we tell them you must work 20 plus hours in order to qualify. So this helps them eventually make the switch to full-time. And then we explain when that is that the 90th day that we offer this benefit. Why? Because we want people to cross the 3-month mark. This helps push people to get to this level. And obviously we want employees to last longer. So, and then what are the team actions? So basically the business manager has to notify Delphine or whoever is your agent about this person crossing the 60th date. So on the 90th day it's ready to be used. Also, big one with most cleaning services is paying maternity leave to your employees. We have many employees go and take advantage of this. So this is another good way that you guys can benefit your employees, which is through maternity leave. We have paid vacation time, 12 months after 12 months paid for those that have been more than 1 year, and 10 days paid after 3 years of employment. And those obviously apply after 90 days. Now, these are kind of what I call the core benefits. Now, what are the perks? The perks are basically, I say, this is like free money that you're giving them away in order to retain these employees longer. And I have it at $150 per month per full-time employee and $75 per month for part-time employees. And these perks can be used whichever they want. They can just get a health insurance reimbursement. So if they're paying some money for health insurance already, they can send the bill to us and we send it in their payroll. We also tell them that they can, use this money towards chiropractors or physical therapists, whichever they prefer. We're starting to offer daycare, which is also something kind of creative that I come up with. It's like, if $150 a month helps you, the employee, stay longer with the company, then I'm gonna basically, give you the money. You just give us the receipt that you pay your daycare and we'll refund you that. English classes, same thing. And then we have professional development webinars and actual workshops, and we do some gas reimbursements. So these are perks that you can offer in your company as well, besides these core benefits. So in your hiring process, when you're onboarding employees, when you're selling your job, when you're posting your ads, you want to mention these things, because most companies do not offer these benefits, and you can do it. It's a matter of communicating and picking what works best for your company. And also we have another section called bonuses, which is not a per se a perk or a core benefit, but it's extra money that we're giving to those employees that are doing amazing service to your company. And that is, for example, performance awards, which is basically people that have perfect attendance. Every 6 months, we divide the year in two and say who has been the best performing in attendance, and we give 500 to the first place, 250 to the second place, and $100 to the third place. This happens always the June 15th and December 15th. We see give birthdays and anniversaries, $100 per anniversary or job or birthday, and bring a coworker, $400 to bring a coworker or somebody that starts to work in your company. Door hangers, lockouts. This is a good one. We recently changed this, that people could basically get the full amount of the payment if the job was a lockout and they couldn't make any money. Now the company is offering that we pay that completely, like if they clean the house. Now, in order to make that happen, and the financials behind that is that you have to be able to have in your terms of service in your company that you will charge the full rate of the service if they don't open the door, or you, for some reason, you cannot service the property. We did this during the this summer, and it's been a relief because employees feel at peace. Like, if a customer doesn't open, I still get paid, and they get the chance to maybe rest a couple of hours or go to a next house and make some extra money. So this is very important for you guys to see. Positive reviews, team leaders, day trainer, workshops. So you see, and then we have some deductions that are also impacting them negatively, but this is mostly for them to think about, oh, I'm not gonna bring my uniform today. They could get fined minus $25 in their paycheck. So this, if you want to get download of this file, you just click on this hyperlink that is on the chat, and it's gonna bring you to this page, and you just fill this out, and you'll download the Excel file so you can play with it, modify it, use it. It's basically a free resource for you. And let's see if anything else I wanted to share. Well, I don't see any more questions in the chat. I just wanted to give you guys like the practical things of the business owner side. Delphine shows like the advisor side of what we need to have, but then I share with you guys the practical things that you can implement in your business with this chart. Now, this event, obviously, we're putting out to teach you guys, share with you knowledge. And also I wanted to share last part here is how do I track the benefits that I offer to my employees, right? Because sometimes you might have, I don't know, a spreadsheet or a whiteboard in your computer or on your wall, excuse me. But that's part of our Pipe Hires management part component, is that we can track all the benefits that we offer to our employees. We can add new ones. So if I am offering, I don't know, free coffee, anything that you're offering your employees, you can track it here, and then you can rearrange this and customize it to your own style. So by going to your employee section, and because each employee sometimes might have different benefits, even though if they're older in the company, you click on employees, you click the edit, and you're gonna have a tab called trainings, benefits. And here you can check whatever benefits they have received from you. This is a perfect way to really retain your employees, because you're gonna be able to track exactly what you're giving them. And it's gonna, be able to, for you to remind yourself also the expiration dates. We have expiration dates in the system when these documents expire, these benefits expire. So you're never out of, I don't know what's happened with my benefit. There's always going to be a place for your employees to track down all their benefits. And also there is a lot of other benefits that the Pipe Hire management component has, which is the onboarding section, tracking all these documents that we need to collect. All of this is really part of the management component. Documents, sometimes you don't know if their their driver's license expired. Here you can check this box and put a date, save it, and now the system will remind you when this document expires, and also reminds your employee about this document expiring. So in reality, in order to sustain and grow a cleaning business or any home service business, you have to have these processes in place, because once you cross 10 employees, it's hard. It's hard to keep with all of this up to date. And one of the things that I love the most is because when we take the application of the employee, we're tracking their birthday and their anniversaries. And when you go into your dashboard, you will see here, you will see here all the birthdays and anniversaries that are coming to your in your company. So this gives you complete control of managing your employees. So that's kind of my sharing of PipeHire. I want to remind you guys, you can download this file by going into this hyperlink we share with you. And for any of those of you that would like to start trying PipeHire today, I have this special code for you. It's called Web27. It will give you 60 days of the products, 50% off completely on any plan. So if you're not sure if this is the right tool for you, go ahead, use this code, and it's going to give you 60 days. Pretty much if you pick the cheapest plan of $59, you're going to get for $29, be able to test this tool and see how your business can improve so much. So Delphine, I don't know if you have any other comments, questions, anything that you would like to close this webinar today.
I think I've said it all. Or
Okay,
at
perfect.
least, we could talk about insurance all day long, I suppose, but
okay,
in an overview.
Perfect. So in the comments, the show comments of these, when we publish this into YouTube, we'll put in your contact information, and so people can ask you any questions. And I know that you guys offer this not just maybe businesses in Texas, but you offer coverage across multiple states, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you're in another state, just check with Delphine. She might be able to help you, or just find somebody local, but make sure that you're covering those essentials. And if that's all, thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Delphine. Thank you, Luis, for being the co-host. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juan. Thanks for having me. Have a
No
blessed
problem.
day, evening. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.